Okay, close your eyes for just a second. I want you to imagine you're walking through a deep, dark forest, let's say about 40,000 years ago. There are no cities out here, no paved roads, no modern comforts whatsoever. It's just the wind in the trees and the primal echoing sounds of nature. And then suddenly, breaking through the tree line, you see someone. Another human being you have never, ever met before.
Now, today, crossing paths with a stranger on a hiking trail might just prompt a really simple question in your head like, hey, should I say hello? But for ancient humans, there was absolutely no social etiquette to worry about. This single heart-pounding moment could literally decide whether they lived or died. The mystery of that stranger wasn't some fun opportunity in a network, it was a profound, immediate survival calculation.
The contrast between our modern world and that prehistoric one is just staggering when you really think about it. Today, we pass hundreds, maybe thousands of harmless strangers every single day, and we're totally backed by massive safety nets, laws, police, hospitals, the internet. But in 40,000 BC, you had zero backup, no emergency services to call. It was pure, unadulterated survival.
And here's the thing. Our ancestors didn't avoid strangers out of some inherent hatred for outsiders. They were deeply cautious because evolution had drilled a very harsh lesson into them, and that was that extending trust could cost them absolutely everything. Trust was definitely not a virtue to be handed out freely. It was, quite literally, the single most dangerous decision a human being could make.
To really wrap our heads around this ancient fear, we have to look at the sheer scale of their world. Humans lived in these tiny, super tight-knit tribes of usually just 20 to 50 people. In a group that small, everyone knew everyone intimately. There were no anonymous faces in the crowd. Your entire world was just an incredibly small, closely guarded circle of familiarity.
So when that small circle was breached, the stakes were absolute. An unknown stranger showing up wasn't just unexpected company, It meant direct, aggressive competition for extremely limited and precious resources. We are talking about the bare fundamentals of life here: food, water, shelter, mates. That stranger represented a sudden, massive risk to the survival of your entire tribe.
Because of these incredibly high stakes, your brain actually developed one of its oldest and most unbreakable survival rules, which is basically, familiar usually means safer. To survive the elements, the ancient human brain evolved into this hypervigilant radar system, constantly scanning faces, listening to voices, and checking environments to reduce uncertainty and basically seek out what was already known.
So when your brain encounters a stranger, it isn't actually making a judgment about their moral character. Not at all. It is executing a concept we know in psychology as familiarity bias. Your brain is running an incredibly rapid subconscious risk estimation based entirely on how familiar someone is to you. Unknown equals uncertainty, and uncertainty triggers deep evolutionary panic and caution. And get this calculation is astonishingly fast. Neuroscientists have actually found that this deep-rooted risk algorithm activates within milliseconds. We're talking 1/10 of a second. It happens way, way before your conscious thought even has a chance to catch up and say, oh, hey, they look nice. Your ancient brain has already sized up the survival risk before you've even blinked.
Now, trust definitely did exist back then. The real question is, how on earth was it built in a world this dangerous? Well, it certainly wasn't through a friendly 5-minute chat over a campfire. It was built through intense, prolonged observation. Words were incredibly cheap. Actions mattered far, far more than anything someone could simply say out loud.
Earning ancient trust developed at an agonizingly slow pace. I mean, anybody can pretend to be friendly for an afternoon, right? But remaining consistent under immense pressure and actually showing loyalty over a long period of time, especially during something brutal like a harsh winter or a famine, that was the ultimate proof of character. Earning trust was essentially a grueling test of endurance. These specific actions were the vital tests. Did they share hard-to-find food? Did they step up during a terrifying animal attack? Did they protect the vulnerable members of the tribe? What is so amazing to me is that this exact same ancient, high-stakes standard still unconsciously influences our modern friendships, business partnerships, and romantic relationships today. Deep down, we are all still looking for who shows up when things get tough.
But testing everyone for years on end was highly inefficient. So, to speed up this brutally slow process of observation, evolution developed an incredibly powerful neurological shortcut: group identity. People who looked familiar, spoke similarly, or shared the exact same cultural customs were instantly deemed easier to trust.
Now, they weren't automatically better or kinder people, but their predictability meant lower risk. Shared customs meant you could actually guess how they would behave in a crisis. This predictability helped tribes cooperate and survive the unforgiving prehistoric landscape, completely saving them from having to start from scratch with every single new interaction.
However, this brings us to a really critical and sometimes dangerous reality of our modern day. Today, this ancient mental shortcut misfires a lot. It creates unfair, unconscious biases where we might favor people who look or sound like us, even though in our modern world, similarity has absolutely nothing to do with a person's actual honesty or kindness. We really have to actively learn to recognize and question this ancient hardware rather than just blindly following it.
Because the wild truth is that ancient survival system is actually still running right now. It is quietly operating in the background of your mind every single day. Seriously, think about it. When you meet a new neighbor, start a new job, go on a first date, or even just chat with someone online, notice how your brain still quietly, carefully gathers evidence before extending any true trust.
We are all basically living with a profound modern paradox. As you can see, our ancient brains evolved for an environment with very few strangers and the literal life or death cost of trusting incorrectly. Yet, we live in a modern society where we encounter thousands of strangers, usually with very low stakes. The world has changed drastically, but your brain is still operating on the hardwired premise that trust is incredibly expensive.
And honestly, we can't really blame our brains for this. For 99% of human history, giving trust too quickly could literally cost you everything. Every unfamiliar face represented profound, terrifying uncertainty, and every uncertain decision carried massive consequences that could literally end a bloodline forever.
But here is the truly fascinating twist in this explainer. Despite this deep, ancient fear of the unknown, humans didn't just stay isolated in tiny tribes forever. We actually became the most cooperative species on the face of the planet. And we didn't do it by blindly trusting everyone. We did it by mastering exactly who to trust.
By slowly overcoming this ancient caution, by observing, building, and earning trust with other groups. Just look at what we achieved. We built deep friendships across borders. We established massive global trade networks. We grew from tiny tribes into thriving communities, and eventually into massive interconnected civilizations. None of this exists without the absolute miracle of earned trust.
So perhaps the ultimate lesson we can draw from our ancient ancestors isn't simply that strangers are dangerous. It's that earned trust is a hard-won, incredibly valuable prize. It is, quite literally, humanity's greatest psychological achievement. It's the glue that holds our entire modern world together, built right on top of a brain that was designed to be suspicious.
As you navigate the world today, I want to leave you with a quick question to ponder. And hey, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. When you meet someone new today, right now, in the modern world, is it your ancient 40,000-year-old instincts taking the wheel or your lived modern experience? Thank you so much for exploring this hidden secret of your ancient brain with us. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.